Hey everybody, thanks for joining me today for Grace with Paul Gray. Haven't been doing many videos lately because I've been doing a lot of podcasts and podcast videos and working on finishing up my latest book, and I just haven't had time to do the videos every day like I had in the past. Hopefully I'll be able to get back to that one of these days. But here's one for this week that I wanted to share with you. I have felt recently in different situations like I was really weak. I wasn't able to get the things done that I wanted to do. I maybe wasn't thinking as clearly as I would like to think. I didn't have the energy that I had before. And I have other friends who seem to be in the same situation. And so I'm asking myself, as well as you, what do we need in times of our weakness? What do we need? Now, there are a lot of different answers to that, and I certainly don't claim that the one I'm going to give you today is the only one, but it certainly is one of the things that we really need in our time of weakness. In Hebrews 4, verse 16, in the Passion Translation, the writer says, "So now we come freely and boldly to where love is enthroned, to receive mercy's kiss and discover the grace we urgently need to strengthen us in our time of weakness." We need grace in our weakness. Well, that begs the question, what is grace? I wrote a whole book on that, and I'm not the only one, called Grace Is. What is grace? Well, one thing for sure, grace is a person. Grace is Jesus himself personified. So in times of our weakness, we certainly need Jesus because he is grace. The Mirror translation of this verse says, "We can approach the authoritative throne of grace with bold utterance. We are welcome there in his embrace and are reinforced with immediate effect in times of trouble." When we're weak, we need Jesus because Jesus is grace. Paul said 3 times, Paul went to God and asked him to remove this thorn of flesh that he had. And in Hebrews 12, verse 7, and going on, in the Mirror, it says, Paul's writing, and he said, "In sharp contrast to my spiritual revelations, the physical pain that I suffered and my severe discomfort momentarily distracted me. It was as if the old mindset of accusation, or Satan, persuaded me that this affliction was actually God's way of keeping me humble. I almost believed this lie and even implored the Lord 3 times to remove the thorn from my flesh." Then Paul says, "Finally it dawned on me that grace is God's language. He doesn't speak thorn language. He said to me, 'My grace elevates you to be fully content.' And now, instead of being overwhelmed with a sense of my own weakness," Paul writes, "he overwhelms me with an awareness of his strength." He does that. Jesus does that. Grace in us overwhelms us with an awareness of his strength. Holy Spirit strength in us, the same strength that raised Jesus from the dead, the same strength that created everything, the same strength that parted the seas, all of that. Paul finishes this with, "Oh, what bliss to rejoice in the fact that in the midst of my frailties, I encounter the dynamic of the grace of God to be my habitation." And the grace of God, Jesus Christ in us, is our habitation and his habitation. So when we feel weak, we're invited to come to the throne of God boldly, and the throne of God is in us, where God lives, and discover the grace that's already there, Jesus. Discover the grace we urgently need to strengthen us in our time of weakness. So then when we feel weak, we simply say, "Jesus, you're in me. Would you do this now? Would you live your life as me? Use my body, my mind, my personality, my speech, whatever. Jesus, would you, in me, would you live your life as me? And he will. And we get the grace we urgently need to strengthen us in our time of weakness. Hope that's encouraging, everybody. It sure is for me. Good to see you. I'll see you next time.